Alright, welcome back to game number 2, folks. It is currently 1-0 in the favor of our Terran player. We'll see how this goes. It's a best of 3, but this is double elimination, so your favorite player will not be out after this round. They will just simply drop down to the loser's bracket. That being said, I'm Rifkin, joined today by Zombie Grub, and spawning in the lower left corner of the map, he's the yellow Zerg player from Mouse Sports. All hail Vortix!
And in the top left, has the blue Terran, and his mind Sanity's Jjakji.
Really need a new mouse. It's like random spasm stuff is getting really irritating. You can find him on Twitter, sorry, at Jjakji. My apologies, guys. Anytime you see the mouse basically go like this, it's because it wants to just not work properly. Does seem to stay to a somewhat minimum, just is irritating nonetheless. Frost is a much larger map than Yansu for sure. It's, thanks for the obvious, Rifkin. But it does play into that 4-player spawn mentality. I'm really curious if anyone's going to be quote-unquote baited into playing greedy, or if they're going to play this out somewhat standard.
Yeah. I wonder if Vortix is gonna try that attack again. You know, it did so much damage, and it's still like, it's still very possible that Jjakji's gonna not scout it. But if Jjakji does go for Banshees again, then that's the real kicker, really. Like, if he doesn't, then it could be game over. If he does, then they can get cleaned up, and the risk of the counterattack's really, really strong. But I don't know. It just did so much damage, and like he could have looked at that and been like, okay, well next time we'll get more spores. Like, don't make the same mistake.
That's a really good possibility. We do have this Overlord over here scanning horizontally to make sure that this will not be horizontal spawns, make Vortix perhaps a little bit happier, as it's probably the worst way for Zerg player to spawn on this map versus Terran. But you bring up an excellent point. Like, the attack was so close to working, which is a bit frustrating to see. And Jjakji has opened up with not a super greedy way of playing this, but he did go command center first. So he's going to have even less production, less capability to hold off some sort of early all-in.
Yeah. So I'm not putting the 14cc on the low ground, so not as greedy as you could possibly be. Players do like to just blindly 6-pull on this map. We've casted a few games where that actually has not worked out.
No. I mean, if it's a 2-player spawn map, that's a different question, right? But of course, you don't get baited into this command center first. They build often on 2-player maps. But here on this 4-player map, Jjakji is going to get away with this for now. When he transfers this down to probably, I don't know, Vortix is going to scout this now, but he should know it's a CC first, I think. Yeah, the Overlord's not going to be so late, that is, no idea. Because that's the problem, right? Like, if he was spawning in, like, the top right and he did this build, like, the command center would already be not the natural, the barracks would be pumping units, it'd be a little bit harder to tell whether that was CC first or not, but Vortix should have a pretty good idea here.
Yeah. And has to, move that Overlord away, because the Marine will pop out. There's to get Reapers with this. The gas has also got up for Jjakji in the home. I wanted to call it, but the main base.
Again, we don't see him opening here with a Reaper by any means. And I don't know if this is because he's very confident playing against Vortix. Maybe these two have duked it out a ton on the ladder. We just don't know about it. Or whether it's the fact that he's just very, very, very wanting to play blind. Either way, it's just weird because every time we cast Jjakji, he pretty much opens with a Reaper at some point. It's
just really not common to open up with a Reaper and with a 14cc.
Yeah,
or they get those Marines out in the bunker, so.
Well, no, that's exactly what I mean. Like, the build doesn't allow it, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, Jjakji is, like, Mr. Reaper. So, again, little shock that we don't have him coming out of him.
Yeah. At least it makes sense on this map, but you're right, it was weird last time. Well, it doesn't wall off. That's weird.
A quick third command center, too, in a very odd spot, but it'll create a longer path in which Links will have to run around, I guess, behind the depot.
But it's still not a wall off, is it?
Next to the other CC, it is, I believe. Like, for the ramp, it doesn't complete the wall at the front, if that's what you mean. But what I'm saying is, if Lings go through, they still have to run all the way through the mineral lines instead of straight up that ramp. So,
well, that's what you want anyways. Like, at this point, if you're gonna send Lings in, you're gonna actually attack the natural. Like, you're not gonna go for the run bind of the main.
Look, I'm just trying to make sense of this, okay? It's weird.
It's just such a weird. There are, of course, walls like on a heavy rain where putting the command center is actually really important because it's such a perfectly placed wall off. But this one is actually weird.
I don't know that I like this either, because what's happening here is this is actually a lot of surface area for Zerglings to attack a bunker on instead of having that depot over there.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's actually super counterproductive. There's a lot of space for the Lings to attack, but not a lot of space for the repair.
Yeah, well, you could lower the depot, I guess, but still, it's weird. Anyways, we'll see what ends up happening. We do have the Hellings coming out here out of Jjakji, and it looks like he will be going into bio this time, as we do have Stim Pack being researched. Typically, you don't have Stim Mech, but if there's one guy crazy enough to do it, it would be Jjakji.
Surprised no one's tried it. Like I don't remember at all seeing any builds. They probably tried it in Wings of Liberty beta, but by Heart of the Swarm beta, like everyone was like, it's either mech or bio, not those.
Well, mech wasn't even as much of a thing back then, right? Like
In HOTS beta?
no, for Wings of Liberty.
It became sort of a thing after MVP showed us the godly ways of mech, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. All right, well, we got 6 Hellions here in the front line. It looks like Argy. Oh dear.
Argy.
Confirmed
shit together,
killing
man.
esports. Can't use Game Art Lite because no, I'm just kidding. I love Argy. He's a pretty cool dude. Just sucks that he's having internet problems. Never a fun thing to have to deal with as a caster because it's not like he just goes like, ah ha ha, I'm lagging, stupid players. But of course, you always feel guilty. You never want to influence the game.
Just imagine like curling his mustache.
With a top hat and a monocle too. The evil villain, Snidely Argy stash or something. Okay, anyways, Hellions are not doing too much right now. I'm a little surprised he's not being more active with these. He does have them poised in a spot where easily could be picking off creep tumors, but hasn't been.
Yeah, it is. It is sort of weird. This is actually a really good map to go ahead and pick off creep tumors. There are some maps where it's like the queen's pretty much going to cover everything, but this is one where there's a lot of area you can kill some. Just choosing not to, I guess, keeping those alive, It's not that he has bad control and that he has to worry about it so much, but, if you really want to have that really strong push from Medevacs push out with the Hellions, then you want to be extra careful about keeping those Hellions alive.
That is a good point, yeah, because the last thing you want to do is have them get surrounded by speedlings, and on a map like Frost is so big, retreating to your reinforcements is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Is going to maybe pick off the queen unless it gets some help. Looks like these things will get on here, but tries to get a wall up here towards the mineral lines. Stays alive.
Yeah, so careful. Gotta be so careful. 1-1's gonna finish for Vortix. Jjakji's only about halfway through. Medevacs are also popping out soon. Choosing to go for both the Widow Mines and the Medevacs. Like sometimes you see Terran players go for the faster Medevacs, and they kind of stop Widow Mine production for a little while. But he's actually gonna have it with the push, which I feel like the strength of the push is really good. You can pick up with the Medevac, not necessarily that you have any Widow Mines with it. So.
Well, one thing's for sure, the Vortex is getting prepared to take a fight. With a lot of banelings available, typically you do see a lot of Zerg players end up being kind of not lazy, but more like they delay their banelings by quite some time. He's got these ready and available. There's no speed, but on creep should still be able to take a pretty decent engagement. The Widow Mines, I'm really curious to see how they come into effect here, because you're right, this is it's not a lot of Widow Mines, but they are coming out a little bit earlier with this push, so might be able to get those free baneling hits that win the game. Maybe not, we'll see. Good clean up some creep tumors on his way path to rampage through the creep here. Lings will try and get a surround off, and Jjakji needs to pick up. He's just not in a good spot to take a fight at all.
Well, how did he get out of there? I thought that was a complete surround.
I thought it was too, but I guess with the medevacs and positioning and I don't know, whatever other awkward thing happened. Baneling is going to try and connect, does focus it down, does Jjakji, and looks like he sees the Spire completing too, so unfortunately did not get a lot done, but as we see, Vortix kind of traded that out, not in the most cost-effective of ways, but still, Jjakji comes out, not exactly with a huge army alive.
Yeah, it was alright trade, he could have maybe done a little bit more with the drops, but the news were out so soon anyways, that's doubtful. The upgrades are a little worrying. Jjakji's now going to be almost, 3/4 of a full upgrade behind, so
yeah, this is
that's something to play a part.
I kind of feel like this is a big part of getting those Widow Mines out of there too, as well as this massive medevac production. Like, this is where a lot of your gaps goes. Does he even have the armory down? He does. So, just now starting up his further attack. I mean, you're expected to be behind as a Terran player. That's usually how it goes, but this is pretty far behind.
Yeah. And the thing is that really, like, you want to take, control with 2-2, but you really want to push and win with 3-3. And it's just, he really can't take control, for a very long time. And of course, in these positions, it's really hard to get a drop off as well. If you go to the left, it's so easy for the Overlord. The one Overlord pretty much sees every drop that's going to be over there. And even then, just like one Spore Crawler, one Spine, and the Natural will take care of it and go around the entire map to that fourth. I mean, if you get there, it's going to die. But, getting there is the hard part.
It's... Oh, we'll hold that thought. I was going to talk about something else. We do have pushing through once again. Mutals do back up on out of this. We're going to try and focus on a couple of these banelings before they hash, but unfortunately won't happen. Big minefield has been set up, and the Mutals do have to be careful. Lots of Marines under this too, but the banelings still rolling forward. They do have some triple hooks, so taking a fight off. The creep is not at all out of the question. We'll clean up the Widow Mines, and in full retreat, Jjakji trying to fall back to his one bunker of defense. Reinforcements are going to come out, but still so many banelings available.
Yeah. Looks like Vortix feels comfortable enough to go for the infestation pit. We did have a drop, by the way, that made its way over to the 4th. Like I said, a lot of damage will go down if you get it over here. So a lot of the drones go down. The hatchery will not. Lanes are pretty fast, so they'll get there.
Nice positioning behind the mineral lines, actually. This is going to work out really nice for Jjakji. Give him some more kills than he should have been afforded, but again, this is all happening off of 1-1, guys. Doesn't quite have the upgrades to contend with Vortix in a head-on fight, so drawing him out of position, pushing forward, cleaning up this creep, and a huge Widowmine spread here in the middle of the map. He takes control once again. But Vortix...
a little bit of a wasted scan.
Vortix just has so many Mutalisks already. Like, this is not going to be easy to deal with. I mean, yes, Marines are kind of like a counter to them if there's enough of them, but this is still so many Mutalisks. I'm worried for Jjakji as far as dealing with this goes.
Yeah. Vortix not too fast on getting that hive, although he has invitation bit to get it whenever he wants to. But he could be starting 3-3 a lot sooner. Jjakji's 2-2 is finally going to finish, as well as that ship plating level 1 to help out both the Widowmines and the Medevacs.
Yeah, 5th base actually coming out of Vortix 2 here in the lower right. A bit of a bold thing, but of course drops are going to be somewhat limited. Mutalisks, they don't exactly stop drops, but they really keep a Terran player from going too heavy with them. Because the last thing you want to do is lose like 2 full Medevacs to Mutalisks. At that point, you're just like, wow, this was a moral loss.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, huge engagement is going to go on right now. The splits are looking good for Jjakji. Will the Widowmines hit the Bailings, though?
They get a good chunk of them, but not enough. There's still so many Mutalisks, and like I said, with all these Mutalisks above it, oh god, he's going to lose some Medevacs full of Marines if he's not careful. He's got to start unloading.
Ooh, that was close. He hit some of 2 Medevacs that didn't have anything in them.
Oh no, there's like nothing in the main right now, not even a single turret up here. So these Mutalisks can get on top of the production, start picking off tech labs, camp the Marines. This is going to be not fun for Jjakji to deal with. Stepping back towards the main. So one of the odd things I wanted to talk about that happened earlier, I don't know if you saw, he was going for concussor shells, which you don't really see. I mean, Marauders are often incorporated with the army to soak bailing hits, but concussor shells are often kind of, I don't know, neglected. So weird to see him go for those so early and still have no Marauder investment afterwards.
It's actually weird to see that 3 of his barracks don't have anything on them.
I was thinking he did that on purpose, though. I mean, it's a quick hive.
I was thinking maybe he did it on purpose, but he's banking enough money that it shouldn't be the case. Actually, there he goes. Puts reactors on him as I say it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, the reason I thought it was going to be on purpose is because he didn't know how fast that hive was coming. I mean, he's not been able to push out and cause any real damage, and the last thing you want to do is be caught off guard. You know, your opponent's got Ultralists, you've got no Marauders, what do you do other than GG, because you've got no army to deal with it. But you can always lift off and move around, of course. So I just assumed it was because he wanted to make tech labs if you saw that faster hive, but...
Yeah, goes kind of middle of the road. 2 reactors, 1 tech lab. So at least producing 2 Marauders at a time will usually be okay for the initial Ultralisk switch, as long as it isn't like Vortix, I didn't do anything this entire game, so they get 20 Ultralisk switch.
Vortix flew right past this medevac drop, so Rusty didn't pick it off on the fly. I must not have seen it. Jjakji, of course, not going to get a lot done with this, but
it pulls back the army so he can move forward with this main one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Again, good to try and take some control. Vortix's creep spread is not at all out of control. Still here on 2-2, 3-3 coming up in a moment's time. Ugh. Probably wishes he didn't pick up. Yeah, medevac falls. Yeah, I wish there was like an evacuate button, like you just like pop a bunch of parachutes on the Marines and abandoned ship.
Upgrade and Legacy of the Void.
Hey, David Kim, you listening? I got some money ideas here. I wouldn't mind getting a couple of these lings, but of course it's not the lings you're really scared of. It's the banelings coming in from behind. The Mutalisk count is so darn scary. Tries to focus on the hatchery. Should be able to pick this one off, albeit just barely.
Yeah, very just barely. Drop was loaded up, and I don't think Vortix quite noticed it, so it looks like Jjakji's going to try and hide it. I really like that, The army's going to go for a counterattack, meaning that Jjakji could potentially snipe the base. I don't think he has any Marauders with those, with that medevacs, maybe not.
A little bit scared. We got Ultras finally coming out here. 3-3 is finishing up for a Zerg player along with Chitinous Plating. So both players are going to be maxed out as far as tech goes, but again, the Mutaflock is going to be so scary to deal with. There's a hell of a lot of turrets here, and some Marines have armed up with those Widowmine hits. Might be able to pick off a couple more Mutalisks here. That's got a couple more, but yeah. That Widowmine placement was really smart. I kind of wish that he, will place a little more. Actually, goes back and places 1 more, but, puts 3 down, and Vortix doesn't notice. Actually, pretty damaged Mutalisks. The drop is ready to commence, by the way. There are so many drones. If he stims in there. Oh,
And
actually,
he sims at the exact wrong time.
Yeah, exactly. As they're already retreating. Decides to focus the hatchery. This will draw the Mutalisks' attention away. Banelings and Ultra still pushing through the middle of the map, though. Widowmines are going to go off, but he unburrowed them. Ugh. Don't know if I like that choice.
That was weird. Well, he's gonna try and tank these Ultras. There's only a few right now. He has got to micro.
Thor's gonna add a good chunk to this fight too. Does have to pick up these units to back on into his reinforcements though. Drop was cleaned up and that hatchery still lives. This is looking a lot better for Vortix than the last game was, not gonna lie. I mean, he's got a lot of map control. He might not have that creep spread that's absolutely insane, but Jjakji's not been able to really fortify his position anywhere outside of his immediate bases.
Yeah. Really like the sensor tower usage here, not only at the 3rd but also at the 4th for the Mutalisk. I think that's really good. Already getting his 5th command center. Ooh, double starport as well going down, so we could see, you know, some Ravens going into this composition.
Versus Ultras though, Ravens are...
You have to have a lot, you know.
Yeah.
It's got to be an actual Raven switch.
You need like 9 Seekers to kill like an Ultralisk or something. Like, it's insane just how much health they have. That's not a real number, guys. I'm just exaggerating, but still. With 500 health, they do soak up quite a few hits, as well as splash damage. Widowmine's going to be somewhat ineffective. I really like the Thors. Not so much for the Ultralisks. I mean, they're going to be great against punching holes in the Ultralisk armor, but... Ooh, snipes off the Spire, I believe. Going to focus down on the Bailey Nest next.
Nice, nice, nice. Oh, main engagement is going down, however, and it looks to be going rather poorly for Jjakji. He does have to pick up, but will get away with 2 Thors.
Yeah, that's really key. These Thors, again, like, they punch so hard. They're good against the Ultras, but they're even better against the Mutalisks. And keeping these alive, even if it's for just, like, 1 salvo of missiles, still a lot better than losing them early. This base is going to be under attack, though, and there's only a bunker here to defend. These Thors are so damaged from earlier, they can't really take a good fight here. It's a really scary thing. Mutalisks are just going to magic box on top of this. Medivacs will try and pick them up and save them once more. They will get 2 Thors out alive just barely. And a couple good hits with these Widowmines might just finish off the Mutalisks. But the Thors can't deal with the Ultralisks. The production can't deal with the Ultralisks. The SimCity at the top is going to hold them in place for a little bit. The Marauders shelling away on top of these Ultras, but again, I don't know that he can really hold against what Vortix has. Finally, the Swarm comes in. A drop's going off over here on the right, but it might not even matter. The production is being camped, and at this point, as a Terran player, like, you're really in for some trouble. This is just yeah, there's not a lot more to say at this point. Jjakji's just in a lot of trouble. There's so many links flooding in here too. It's not even a lot of actual units. Bunker at the 3rd, curiously enough, is actually still holding really nicely. These SCVs are still mining, but Vortix might lose another base of this drop.
Yeah, one of the things that Vortix could do is just, you know, get the tunnel vision right now. But if he swamped with Lings, then it shouldn't be a problem. It's really just the Ultras getting the chokes that's the problem. But Lings can camp production pretty well.
If he could just get a wall down again too, like, he'd cut out so much trouble here in the main, but factories are burning on fire. I'm not sure why they're with the army, but they are. Does cut down that last Ultralisk. A couple more Lings going to be a problem to deal with, but SimCity is the one thing keeping Jjakji in this game. That being said, looks like his 3rd base has finally been torn down with that bunker. Lifts up. This base over here in the top right is still standing strong with a planetary, but again, his production isn't safe yet. God, it's kiting through the city, the giant monsters. Alright, Ultras finally falls. Curiously enough, though, with those base snipes out of Jjakji, that may be just what brings him in the game. I said it didn't really matter earlier because I thought Vortix was going to swipe through so hard, but with no Mutalisks and no economy to reinforce an Ultralisk, just Lings is a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, that actually was, you know, very much so an overextension by Vortix, I think. He really got that, you know, the blood in the water type thing. And it just did not work out for him. The SimCity, it always looks so good at camp of production, and it is really good. But if the SimCity is going against your Ultralisk, then, you know, that's actually a lot of supply down the drain pretty easily against Marauders. And the drop's doing so much damage. I actually think this is Jjakji's game.
I was gonna say, Vortix actually has no income. He can't make more Mutalisks. He lost that Spire. He's got no way to shut down these Medivacs. Main now under attack, and they got the spawning pool. Jjakji. This is like the miracle kid. Like, would not have expected him to come back from this. And the Planetary Fortress is going to hold really nicely. The supply depot is going to provide more SimCity frustration to go through. And he should be able to kite these Ultras. Banelings have been killed off, so now the Marines are in no real danger. This is, in fact, looking like Jjakji's game. Good game is going to be called, and Vortix will be sent to the losers bracket. Sad to see him go, but again, he's not out of the tournament yet, guys. We can celebrate Jjakji moving on forward.
Yep. Really, really clutch game at the end right there.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, just a little.
yeah. Gonna go ahead and call you on Skype because it was messing up.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.